Okay, so now we come to one of my favorite titled chapters. Actually, let me check to see if there's any other chapters that are just as outstanding. Um, yeah, okay, no, this is probably one of the the better chapters. I'm trying to see. Wow, I got a list of maybe like 20, 25-ish. No, this is probably one of my favorite ones. Okay, so chapter 26 or page 26, 第26章冲向风车的少年. Yeah, a friend of mine recently explained to me what 风车 was, and it was just very interesting. Windmills are called wind car. Are translated. The literal translation of 风车 is wind car, but it's actually what they call windmills. So let's translate to English. Unfortunately, the English translation pops it out. But if the machine translation translates it to, let's see here. The machine translation translates it to the boy who charged the windmill. And if you know what that is a reference to, congrats. For those who don't, it's a Don Quixote character. Miguel de Cervantes. Yeah. So yeah, Brother Qinglong looked at the neatly packed 10 stacks of banknotes on his class table and couldn't help but laugh a little laughter. Should I hand you a black box to complete the transaction? After all, Lu Yuan's performance was too professional. He used electric batons to clearly overturn two wolfhounds before. Although it is because Lu Yuan has a sharp weapon like electric baton in his hands, it is necessary to talk about his alertness. All right, calm down. Brother Qinglong feels none of the mazi who is used to street fights under his team may have this skill. At this moment, Brother Qinglong had even had the idea of soliciting Lu Yuan to do it for himself. But then he remembered the other party really turned out to be the city champion this year. Lu Yuan smiled, ignoring Brother Qinglong's teasing. You count. If there is no problem, I will go back. Why don't you transfer the money? I'm so biased here. I didn't expect you to dare to come by. Brother Qinglong picked a stack of banknotes, weighed it in a hand, and threw it at Lu Yuan. Your dad owes me 90,007. Before you paid back 5,000. 92,000 are left. I don't want those 2,000. Congratulations on your successful college entrance examination. The stack of banknotes slid along the table, then hit Lu Yuan's palm. Lu Yuan looked at each other. Don't you need to pay interest? If someone else comes to pay the bill, I might ask for an interest, Brother Qinglong said lightly. But you can come here and pile the money here, even if it is interest. Honestly, speaking in this world, the hardest thing to ask for money it's the hardest thing to ask for money from gambling ghosts. If you don't have any money, you won't lose it in the casino. This way, you can still ask the family for money slowly at the casino. Brother Qinglong took 2 stacks of money and weighed it at hand. Your dad's money? We thought it was rotten. Who thought that your kid could grow 10,000 times more than Lao Zu? Lao Zu just means your father. It's a reference to Confucius, because Confucius is considered one of the fathers of China, philosophically. But let me say, Brother Qinglong threw 2 stacks of money in his hand again. Listen to my advice. Go back and let your mother divorce your dad. Move to another place. That kind of person is not saved. I see with more people of this kind, hope for him will only drag the family away, right? Because he's one of the loan sharks. Lu Yuan took the 2 piles of money from Brother Qinglong and remained silent. Brother Qinglong then smiled. Some of the things you said to me at the time were still in my heart. You guys are promising. I don't know how your stubborn father gave birth to you. I didn't. Your father, this blessing, can only earn more pension money when he is young. I still want to have a friendship with you, but you shouldn't have anything to do with us good guys. I will talk to the road and give your family 2 months to move. After all, it won't harm your family. You will be responsible for the things your father committed. Lu Yuan looked at Brother Qinglong, who was sitting opposite, and finally laughed. The reason why I came to pay the money in person is because I want to take this opportunity to talk about it. Give me 3 months and I will pay off my father's account in full. Brother Qinglong sat upright, looked at the boy who didn't know the heights of the sky, stretched out his hand, and put the pile of money down in front of him. Do you really think that your father owes such a small amount of money? More than 3 million, Lu Yuan said word by word. Brother Qinglong raised his eyebrows. I know your kid as a kind. I didn't know your kid is so kind. The way a person can earn 3 million in 3 months is written in the criminal law. Yeah, Lu Yuan nodded, pushed back the 3 stacks of banknotes in front of him. At the beginning, I used 5,000 yuan as your 100,000 interest. Now I use this 100,000 as the 3 million in interest. Please give me some time, can you? Brother Qinglong couldn't help but laugh and said okay in his laughter. ... He took the taxi again, and Lu Yuan headed back to the city. Such a small, unrented space is very suitable for thinking about problems. And Lu Yuan can really push himself into a situation where he is ruined. Right now, I borrowed the voice of Brother Qinglong to take all his father's debts in his own name. Although this didn't have real legal effect, it was a guarantee with his own reputation. It's just unexpected that Brother Qinglong is really more righteous than unexpected, and it also may be gray groups like them that can condense together or rely on righteous words. A lot of commenters commenting on the realisticness of it, their own life experiences. It's just that no matter how loyal he is, he won't eat it. Just like Brother Qinglong, no matter how much he appreciates himself, he won't pay to fill this hole himself, unless you consider him a godfather. Thinking of this section of Lu, Lu couldn't help but laugh. Oh, this section of road, he could not help but laugh. After the payment of money was given, Lu Yuan basically blocked his back, and then he could only hope that the game would sell well instead of completely losing his money. His back was to the cliff. Of course, if you say that your first game didn't hit a big hit and then went viral, then your overall plan would be messed up because of this, let alone deal with the sun extinguishing event 5 years later. Therefore, Lu Yuan doesn't mind putting all his chips on this tomorrow is not coming. Tomorrow hasn't arrived, tomorrow isn't here. And Lu Yuan believes that this will be a good game. But in fact, as Qinglong said, all the ways to make big money and quick money are written in the criminal law. And Lu Yuan owns the Transportation Committee, a technology product that has transcended the entire era. Even if the rashly changing the bank data will bring a lot of trouble, necessary danger, but it's still possible to change certain flows unconsciously and bring amazing benefits to oneself. Not to mention, as long as you enter the dark web and sell certain stolen high secret information, or even directly sell the future technology blueprint stored in the Transportation Committee, this can bring massive wealth to Lu Yuan. But Lu Yuan always believes that morality is the highest law, and law is the lowest morality. So yeah, the lowest standard. So, following the law is a good thing morally, but the law is only the lowest bar, right? If possible, Lu Yuan still hopes that he can stand on the shore cleanly in this life, to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, instead of saying that he has to plan everything in the dark. If you sell technology on the dark web, Lu Yuan cannot be sure whether the technology he gave will eventually flow. These technologies have always belonged to all people in this world, the last gift left by the remaining human beings in that desperate future, and the last hope of the present mankind. If possible, Lu Yuan hopes to put them all in the game Tomorrow Is Not Coming and return them to humans. Lu Yuan sat in an unmanned taxi, quietly gazing at the distant city. The wreckage of the Nest of Heaven is still hanging there, and it has not been thoroughly cleaned yet. And further away, the huge wind generator is slowly rotating. This city brings clean energy. The sun is setting, and the golden afterglow is all over the earth. After the sun goes out, there's no wind. Lu Yuan thought of this section and couldn't help but laughing. Then I felt I was the knight riding a lame horse and wearing armor towards the windmill. So stupid and so upright. This is the life I want, Lu Yuan said to himself quietly. And that's how chapter 26 ends. I think this is a beautifully written character. A little bit slow at the beginning, reading it for the first time. But if you read slowly and you appreciate it, especially if you're reading it a second, third, fourth, fifth time, it's so beautiful to reread. This is so much reread potential if you can get through the first time. And even then, as a first-time read, yeah, the synopsis is a little bit deceiving, but it is an amazing story. 2019 to 2020. In terms of the technology belonging to all humans, I don't know. I'm just really reminded of a lot of heroic scientists and financial figures. Obviously, you have to have that accumulation of experience and wealth, but some things like ideas and technology, belong to everyone. I don't know. There's a lot I could talk about. Neil deGrasse Tyson's views on 1969 and Earth Day, and like seeing everyone as a world rather than nations. That's a pretty good speech. There's Jonas Salk and his in his attitude toward patenting the polio vaccine. Jonas Salk was I don't know much about Jonas Salk. I know he's a decent researcher. I don't know much about him, his personal life, personal character motivations. But he made his vaccinations for polio free. There's a lot of people who made. There's another guy, Radiolab, did an interesting article on the man who made, I think, the malaria vaccine or something. In China, there's the Tu Yao Yao, the discovering artemisinin. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of cases of very famous figures, heroes basically, doing that. But that's a very noble mindset. And it is a character in a book, but I still feel like um, the author really wrote a real character instead of just a protagonist. I mean, we obviously know he's a protagonist. We're reading his story, and you kind of see that. But I think it's passages and chapters like these that make the protagonist seem more human, seem more real. And I think that's what makes this such a great story.